Welcome back to CircuitMeter Insights, the podcast where energy meets intelligence. Discovering how smart analytics, real-time data, and cutting-edge efficiency solutions are driving the future of sustainability forward. So, plug in, power up, and let's dive in.
Welcome to this special edition of CircuitMeter Insights. Today we're digging into a really big pain point that we see across two massive sectors. We're talking about industrial manufacturing and commercial real estate.
That's right. Both of them are dealing with these just skyrocketing costs and, honestly, a total lack of clarity on their energy data. It makes energy feel like this huge liability.
A liability instead of a controllable asset.
Exactly. For a commercial real estate portfolio, that opacity, it's a direct threat to your net operating income, your NOI.
And for an industrial plant.
It means your OPEX, your operating expenses, just keep climbing. And you're always living with the threat of unplanned downtime, which can be catastrophic.
Right, because that traditional utility bill just gives you one number, one big, unhelpful number for the entire property. It's useless for actual management.
It tells you nothing.
So our research makes the mission here pretty clear. We need to find a way to move energy from being this, fixed overhead that you just have to pay to something you can actually manage.
Yeah.
A visible variable.
And that's what we're going to unpack. We'll be looking at how granular circuit-level data from CircuitMeter is really transforming this whole challenge.
Okay, so let's jump right in. The most immediate threat for a lot of organizations is that cost volatility. And of course, those really punishing peak demand charges. If you're running a big facility, you know this feeling. The prices jump, you hit a peak, and suddenly you get this massive bill, but you have no idea what caused it. How do you even begin to switch things off if you don't know the culprit?
You can't. And that's the first place where circuit-level visibility from CircuitMeter pays off. And the payback is immediate.
Okay, so how does it work?
Think about it this way. Your main utility meter, it measures the energy coming in.
Right.
CircuitMeter effectively measures the energy going out, down to the individual machine, the individual system, and it does it in real time.
So you can see in the moment which 3 machines turned on at the same time to create that peak.
Precisely. You can finally pinpoint the exact makeup of that peak demand event. So instead of just guessing, you can target your reductions with surgical precision.
That's a huge shift. And the savings on those demand charges can be pretty significant, right?
Oh, massive. In some places, demand charges can be, 30, even 40% of the total bill.
Wow.
So if you can understand the composition of that peak and shave it down, you're talking about enormous savings.
Now let's look at the commercial real estate side of things. How does that same data help a property manager dealing with, say, dozens of tenants?
It gives them what we call defensible submetering.
Defensible, meaning you can prove the numbers?
You can prove it, absolutely. We're talking about precise, auditable cost allocation for everything. The HVAC, the lighting, plug loads in the office, common areas, even the new stuff like EV chargers.
So it puts an end to those arguments over CAM charges, the common area maintenance costs.
It completely eliminates those disputes. And when you do that, you're protecting the property's NOI. You stop it from being, slowly eaten away by energy costs you can't account for.
That makes perfect sense. But let's talk about the waste that happens inside the walls, beyond just the billing. This idea of hidden waste and performance drift. Our research shows this is a huge unseen problem.
It's a huge problem, and it's one that just gets worse over time. We're not talking about someone leaving a light on. We're talking about much more subtle things.
Like what?
Like idle equipment that's still drawing power at 2 in the morning. Or controls that are just slightly misset. In an industrial plant, it could be a small compressed air leak that's just bleeding energy invisibly.
And what about this performance drift idea?
That's maybe the worst offender. It's when a piece of equipment, it starts out perfectly efficient, but over months or years, it slowly drifts away from that optimal performance. Components wear out, controls get nudged, it slowly uses more and more energy to do the same job.
And a traditional energy audit might not even catch that, right? It's just a snapshot in time.
Exactly. Which is why CircuitMeter developed a specific methodology for this. They call it forensic energy management.
Forensic. Okay, that sounds interesting. Tell me about that.
It's all about continuous monitoring. You use the CircuitMeter data to establish a baseline, a benchmark for what optimal power use looks like for every single piece of equipment.
The machine's energy fingerprint.
A perfect way to put it. And then the forensics part is actively monitoring for any deviation from that fingerprint. You're looking for statistical anomalies.
So if a pump is benchmarked at, say, 10 kilowatts, and now it's drawing 11 under the same load.
That's drift. And you get an alert instantly. It lets you prevent waste by making sure every system stays right at its energy benchmark. You're replacing that expensive once-a-year audit with continuous real-time insight.
That's powerful. And it seems like that would lead directly into another huge concern, especially for manufacturing, which is uptime. Unscheduled shutdowns are just financially brutal.
They're catastrophic. The cost, the disruption to the supply chain, it's a nightmare for any plant manager.
So how does CircuitMeter act as an early warning system here?
Well, this is where we move from saving energy to actually protecting the asset itself. The system monitors that unique energy signature we talked about for each critical asset: motors, compressors, pumps, you name it.
And when a part starts to fail?
The signature changes. It changes long before the machine starts vibrating or overheating. For instance, bearing wear on a big motor will cause a tiny but measurable change in the current draw or the power factor.
So the system flags that change before the failure happens.
Weeks, sometimes months before. This is the foundation of what's called precision maintenance.
So you're not just doing maintenance on a fixed schedule anymore.
Exactly. You can move away from that old model of over-maintenance, replacing parts that are still perfectly fine just because the calendar says so.
And you avoid the other extreme, which is the catastrophic shutdown.
You avoid both. You target just-in-time maintenance only when it's needed. You fix the problem right before it becomes a disaster. And our research shows this applies to all sorts of specialized assets too, like EV charging stations or even clean tech generation systems.
Okay, so we've covered cost, we've covered operations. Let's pivot to compliance. This is, it's a growing headache for everyone. Investors, regulators, they all want transparency. We're hearing GRESB, lead net zero targets all the time. But the hard part is always verifying the savings, proving that the new chiller you installed is actually performing as promised.
And that's why the industry has this concept of M&V, measurement and verification.
Right.
And to do proper M&V, you need auditable, high-resolution data to prove that a change actually resulted in the savings you projected. This is where CircuitMeter really shines. It provides M&V grade monitoring.
And why is the CircuitMeter data M&V grade when, say, the utility bill isn't?
Because M&V requires high-frequency data that's tied to a specific system. You can't just look at the main meter. You need to see the before and after on the exact asset you changed.
I see.
And CircuitMeter takes it a step further. It can convert that energy data directly into CO2e, into carbon equivalent data. So you're quantifying your greenhouse gas emissions right at the source.
So you have an auditable paper trail.
A completely auditable trail. It's essential for validating savings, for hitting your ESG goals, and critically, for applying for rebates and government incentives. You can go to them with concrete proof.
It sounds like it just streamlines that whole compliance effort, especially for a company with, sites all over the country.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we've seen data showing that just the manual task of collecting utility bills, electricity, water, gas, steam across a big portfolio can take months of someone's time.
It's a huge administrative bottleneck.
A huge hidden cost. Imagine trying to get all that data from hundreds of different buildings, all with different utility providers. It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
CircuitMeter just eliminates that problem.
How does it do that? Does it pull it all together?
Yes. The platform is designed to be a single, scalable solution. It brings everything into one place. Not just the electricity data from the circuit submeters, but it can integrate gas, water, and steam consumption too.
All on one dashboard.
One dashboard, one click. So what used to take months of manual data entry, you can now do instantly. It lets you manage your entire multi-site portfolio and spot waste or faults across all your major utilities from one screen.
That really crystallizes the business case for ROI, doesn't it? You're not just saving on energy, you're saving all that manual labor cost.
Absolutely. The business case is about today and tomorrow. It's about better capital planning. An organization can start small, with a focused pilot on one production line or one floor of a building.
Validate the savings quickly.
Exactly. Validate the savings, prove the ROI, and then you can easily and confidently scale the analytics across the entire portfolio. And from that point on, every decision about new equipment or a retrofit is backed by real, hard data.
That's a crucial point, connecting that granular data directly back to the asset's value, back to the NOI.
It connects the boiler room to the boardroom. It's that simple. When you reduce your operating expenses by cutting waste, by doing precision maintenance, by controlling your demand peaks, you are directly strengthening your net operating performance. And that is exactly what investors want to see. So I think we've seen today that this circuit level, real-time intelligence from CircuitMeter, it really is the solution to these core challenges that are shared by both manufacturing and commercial real estate. By making energy totally visible and providing that M&V-grade data across all utilities, electricity, water, gas, steam, it really addresses the whole spectrum, everything from peak demand control all the way to rigorous ESG reporting.
I think for you, the listener, the biggest takeaway here might just be getting your time back, your focus. When you can eliminate all that guesswork and you cut out those months of just tedious data collection, you empower your leaders to stop reacting to problems and start focusing on strategic growth.
Yes, that's how you strengthen performance and drive up the long-term value of every single facility in your portfolio.
So here's a final thought to leave you with.
Consider the real cost of not knowing the energy signature of every critical asset you own. If CircuitMeter data can prevent just one unscheduled shutdown on your most important production line, or if it helps you justify one crucial retrofit with auditable savings that unlocks a government rebate, how quickly does that investment completely change the future valuation of that asset?
And that's it for this episode of CircuitMeter Insights. We hope this discussion has powered up your understanding of how smart analytics, real-time data, and cutting-edge efficiency are transforming the energy landscape and driving the future of sustainability forward.